Well, last night I uploaded a video discussing the premature attack against Syria by the alliance between the US, UK, and France, which was very ill-advised, and with it gave multiple additional videos and articles to sources and go-to references, along with, at the conclusion, saying that I would soon return with a part 2 on the update of the beginnings of World War III. Turns out part 2 came almost immediately. There is a lesson in stories from around the world that once you choose war, it is a path that very few have the strength of character to turn away from. Now, if you remember the year of 2017, as most of you do, all that CNN was blaring was Russia conspiracy and a made-up Trump-Russia collusion which won President Trump the 2016 election. There was all empirical evidence to the contrary, but as Vladimir Putin himself recently pointed out, and he's completely right about this, the politics in America are dominated now by the party that lost but refused to accept their defeat. He's very right about that much. Now Putin and Trump find themselves as adversaries. So now the chummy collusion between them is an almost impossible story to push. In his presidential campaign during the year of 2016, Donald Trump distinctively said, "If Russia and the US got along, wouldn't be so bad." That much was also true. Two world powers, each armed with the potential to annihilate pretty much all life on the planet, were they pushed to that point, instead reaching a mutual agreement of peace, that would not be so bad after all. But the unjustified hatred and accusations against Putin and Russia just would not stop. Even when the competent people continuously pointed out the gaping holes in that narrative. So everyone who pushed those accusations, everyone who kept screaming, "The Russians hacked the election," they now have the blood that will be shed in World War III on their hands. Their hands are already covered in the blood that is to come. We kept telling you how dangerous that was. Now you will have to face the consequences in one way or another. It was a conflict long contemplated after the end of World War II. What will World War III be like? What will set it into motion? Will it even ever be set into motion? Did we finally learn our lesson after the horrors of World War II and the total annihilation of 2 Japanese civilian cities? The West, in some ways, did learn its lesson for a time. Nuclear weapons were not used again for more than half a century. Europe and Japan became peaceful societies, but a silent cost was paid. The loss of reason and the loss of vigilance. Political correctness invaded the schools, and people forgot that real independence was protecting one's own country, one's own culture, earning your way in the world, personal responsibility. And the West entered into a long series of dominoes of unwinnable wars in attempts to bring democracy to countries not ready for it, by invading everyone, and then, too soon after, inviting everyone. It was a perfect setup for absolute disaster. At the same time, families were shredded, and children, particularly the boys, were destroyed and drugged. Cries out to stop were ignored. Cries out to stop this were ignored. Pleas to stop trying to fight every conflict in the world were shut down. And people worried about climate change and gun control and equality of outcome kind of low on the priority scale after humans have descended into pathetic identity politics that leads to countries blowing each other to smithereens. And there are no more people left on the earth, which we are definitely capable of. There are enough countries with enough power, both political and nuclear war power, to do so. After that, well, it's like the end Permian or end Cretaceous extinctions. Eventually, life forms will return, but they won't be the same ones. I was almost ready to launch my realist ecology website today. Then I woke up, heard this story. Now I'm wondering if there's even a point. I don't know if in a few years there will be a world left to save. If anyone survives this, societies all over the world are going to have to start all over. I'm still going to try to do it because I feel I have to do something. You know, when Trump signed the omnibus bill that gravely concerned us all, Ann Coulter said, chillingly, she was glad she doesn't have children. Well, I may not have children, but I do have younger siblings, and I am afraid for them. My family was ripped to shreds by a terrible string of bad decisions, horrible family situations for the kids, and horrible divorces. And the courts don't care about the children, about the damage done to the children. Neither do the schools, it seems. They've proven. My brother is ruthlessly having to hear over and over about how he is a bad person for being born white and a male, despite the fact that he is an intelligent and caring boy. And I try to do what I can to counter it. Talk with him and spend time with him when I can. I do the same with my sisters. A good older sibling does care. I'm trying to salvage what is left of my family, and what chance for survival is left, both for, well, all for my family, my country, and the world as a whole. So I have no choice. I have to try and tough out the dark and difficult times. Now, I'm no stranger to doing that. I was born with a genetic defect that destroyed some of my organs very early in life, and efforts to keep me alive shredded my childhood. That, along with the horror of the divorces, terrible family situations, plus the abusive schools, which have just insane standards of resilience for the kids. completely destroyed my formative years, as they are destroying many kids' formative years. Perhaps not all have the destructive health issues, but well, now that so many boys are being drugged, maybe that's not so different. I spent the majority of my 20s in horrific pain, just barely making it through college. Actually, what's funny is that, well, more ironic than funny is that the environmental science major I completed in college, because I was really interested. I love the subject. I love ecology and evolution, and it's always been just fascinating to me. So that's why I chose it. That's why I work in a Natural History Museum fossil lab. It's fascinating to me, the story of the Earth. And the first couple of years of, actually, late high school to early college years were relatively good. But after that, for, well, a whole web of reasons too complicated to list here because that'll be too off topic. Or just too long. There's no short version. Things totally crashed. I finally clawed my way back to health and sanity. Actually, about around the time I began my YouTube channel. After one last transplant and a long-term realization that took a long time to put together. Not that I had to do it, but how to go, the beginnings of how to go about it. To try, no matter how long it took, to put my life back together. My teeth are still in rough shape. They were damaged years ago, and I just have to wait until I can raise the funds and arrange the necessary repairs. So that takes time, but in the meantime, I can't put my other efforts on hold. I'm not a child anymore. As much as a lot of people would like to get back what they should have had as children. I'm not a child anymore. So I have to try and persevere. And I don't want to see the world burn. I really don't. I was watching, among others, the Alex Jones channel, which is not one I often go to, but Alex and Owen are pale as ghosts. So am I. Some of the commentators on the video say this was the real Trump all along. I don't think that's true. I think he was broken, blackmailed, and pressured step by step by the globalists. The threats to his children, the raiding of his lawyer's office. All illegal. I mean, what they've done with the public schools is illegal. The Common Core was illegal to begin with, but I'm not sure how to put the pieces together exactly of what happened. I don't think Trump started out as one of the globalists. He started out wanting to get along with Russia, with Putin, because we are given so few details about what takes place in politics behind closed doors and inside the military-industrial complex. And maybe he had a point with, increasing funding for the military. I wish he had not kept so many military bases all over the world, we can't solve all the world's problems. I don't know what made him eventually... I don't know exactly what it was that made him eventually give in, exactly what straw broke the camel's back, so to say, but Syria was stabilizing. Russia and America were pulling out. Then at the last moment, one piece of bait, this supposed chemical attack, not even verified yet, or the source verified yet at least, thrown at the Western military was all it took to wage all-out war again. There was one terrifying comment in the live chat on the Alex Jones show, Alex Jones channel, saying World War III is not going to happen. Stop being so dramatic. Well, it's begun. So what to do in the midterm elections? Well, we need a stronger leader. We still need a conservative because families and family unity are going to fast become invaluable. We've heard the "we need to topple the Assad regime" before. The Democrats pulled this a year ago when Trump bombed a Syrian airbase after a lie about Assad having used sarin gas against civilians was put to us before. It was made up then, and it was made up now. A ruse to lure the West into toppling another almost stabilizing Middle Eastern country. Syria is not our war. It should not have been our responsibility to solve Syria or any of Africa or the Middle East's problems for that matter. Maybe apart from South Africa, but we can't do this. When the United States and Russia jointly agreed to defeat ISIS in Syria and then leave, Russia kept its end of the deal. Putin kept his promise. Trump was about to, and then this? What unholy string was pulled that Trump decided to act on unverified claims? That's what we railed against the left for. Now there's a unity between the parties who were... Well, the left was at the right's throat. The right was trying to do things reasonably, but now there's this really odd unity, and it's in the highest positions of government. This is not good. I think Putin is right to say that he's not tolerating this action from the West. He's in the right here. In 2013, Trump, who was not president at the time, tweeted that we should stay the hell out of Syria. Assad is far preferable to ISIS, the people who want to build an Islamic caliphate based on bloody Sharia law. The instant Assad, just like Gaddafi, is murdered. If Russia helped to deflect missiles falling on a country in the beginning of rebuilding, I think it did the right thing there. Rebel groups have been funded by the United States before to stage chemical attacks and draw America into conflict, to which it goes blindly and without question. Syria was almost free of jihadist rebels until now. But as for now, if Assad, who is a relatively secular leader compared to the Islamic imams, is toppled, then Syria will fall under a rule so oppressive and sadistic that they will never regain freedom again. And hundreds of millions of innocent men, women, and children will die in more and more brutality. Scales that no one apart from those who have seen it up close can imagine. Because the United States and Russia will not team up again. Russia kept its end of the deal. The U.S. What happened? What blackmail was enough to bait Trump into this? It's horrifying what must go on behind closed doors in the government. It's horrifying. It's infuriating. Every single time a peace is almost reached, it is destroyed again by lies and bullshit. Now the United States and Russia are pointing their missiles at each other again. Enough nuclear power to wipe out all life on Earth if they so choose. So what now? Well, we do have to keep fighting political correctness. We have to fight it with truth and honesty. We have to rebuild the family. Damn the courts. We need our families. We need our strong social circles. You really need to listen in on Tucker Carlson's video. You need to hear this. He outlines the issues and threats at hand very clearly. You should also watch and listen to the other links I've listed in the video description. I'll come back and talk more about all of the topics. Turn off CNN. Switch to Fox News. Switch to alternative media. Protect your information. Protect each other. I don't quite know yet how we're going to see this through. I hope in some form we do. I may be organizing a march on Washington myself to try to get the United States to stand down against Russia. We can't compete with them right now. And right now, we need a complete reform of our government. I don't know, maybe if Ben Shapiro runs in 2020, that's the only person who's said he might run that I see probably capable of deflecting the unimaginable blackmail that's going on, but the United States needs reform, a serious reform, because we can't. And our government has been distracted from the border wall construction, which we cannot afford. I will keep you updated on what I'm deciding to do as the weeks and months go on, if we're not all blown to oblivion by then. Count yourself lucky every day you wake up alive. In the region I live in, after about a week of very warm spring weather, this morning it suddenly turned very cold and very rainy. How eerily appropriate.